Welcome back to the Graham Stephan Show, and unfortunately, the car market in 2026 is absolutely You have car prices that are falling at some of the fastest levels that we have seen in years. New car prices, on the other hand, cost more than they ever have. Monthly payments are at record levels as well, and that leads to this perfect storm that is causing videos like this. It's titled, "Why Most Car YouTubers Are Quietly Going Broke, Everyone is Selling." So with that said, I want to comment on this because I know quite a few people mentioned in this video personally, and I want to set the record straight. As soon as you hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done that already, that's all I ask for, and as a thank you for doing that, here's a picture of a Mini Cooper. So thanks so much, and also a big thank you to Built for sponsoring this video, but more on that later. Let's begin.
More people are falling behind on their car payments, and when that happens, lenders can step in and repossess those vehicles. Experts say it's not necessarily a sign of economic collapse, but it's definitely a warning sign that the economy is slowing down.
Look, here's what happened. People bought and paid these absurd prices for cars between 2021 and 2023, when all of a sudden a used car was selling for more than the new car. So why didn't people just go and buy new cars instead? Well, because they couldn't build them fast enough. And so the used market was basically filling that spot. People would go and they'd pay $70,000 for a pickup truck that was actually worth only $50,000. Lenders were going and issuing these loans. And then when the market corrected, you have these people who still have this like $60,000 balance on a pickup truck that's only worth $30,000. And so what do? When they can't sell the car, they can no longer afford the payments, they just stop making the payments and they try to give the car back. That's what's happening more than ever these days.
A few years ago, car YouTube looked like one of the safest bets on the platform. Fast forward to today, and a lot of those same creators are in very different situations. Cars that were once called long-term keeps have been sold. Entire collections have quietly shrunk. Upload schedules have slowed down. And in some cases, creators have openly admitted they came far closer to financial collapse than anyone realized at the time.
Here's the thing, a lot of this just had to do with everything being shut down. And every single YouTube channel out there saw a triple increase in views. I mean, my views went through the roof because everyone was locked up inside, everyone cared about finance content, and you could just sit there and make a video. It's a lot of just artificial demand that never would have existed outside of people being stuck at home. And these car YouTubers benefited the most from this because they were able to buy a car, monetize it on YouTube during a time when views were triple, at the same time that the car that they bought is now worth more than what they paid because the used car market kept going up in price. And so a lot of people just doubled down on their content, they posted so much, and by the time everything reopened, they had made so much money or gotten so burnt out that when the views go down, they don't have as much motivation to keep posting. But we'll continue.
A lot of creators have since said that 2020 and 2021 were the most profitable years they've ever had. And at the time, there wasn't much reason to think it would slow down. The car market only made that confidence stronger. Used and exotic car prices were climbing fast, and by late 2021, they were sitting about 21% above normal levels. In some cases, supercars were actually selling for more used than they cost new.
Yeah, a lot of these car prices, though, didn't make sense. And a lot of these car YouTubers had the relationships and the allocations ready to go to be able to basically pick up a lot of really cool cars at MSRP. I mean, imagine buying a Ferrari SF90 in 2021 for $500,000. And the moment you take delivery, it's worth $1 million. So you've just made $500,000 buying a car. And then you could make videos on the car. You probably make another $100,000 doing that. And then you could sell the car, roll it into another one, and start the process over again because you got another allocation. I mean, there are so many ways to make money during that time that were just not normal. It's never normal to be able to buy an allocation like that and double in price overnight. When now, look at the prices have crashed through the roof on an SF90, but you lost a lot of money, unfortunately, doing that.
Once lockdowns ended, car YouTubers felt the impact almost immediately. At the same time, the easy money environment disappeared. Advertising budgets were cut, sponsorships slowed down, and creators who had built everything around constant growth suddenly saw their income drop.
So I gotta say, from my own experience, just being in all of this, 2020 was a fantastic year. 2021, just as good. 2022, you started to know things go down as the market was going down. 2023, just in terms of numbers, that was the first year where all of a sudden you would have a lot of brand deals pull out, people were not spending money, ad revenue was down, views were down, and yes, you had the anomaly every now and then of just like one creator just pops off, a video ends up doing really well, but overall, 2023 for a lot of creators went down anywhere from like 20 to 80% in revenue.
Supercars, insurance, storage, maintenance, and travel don't get cheaper just because views go down. On top of that, the car industry itself pulled back on marketing, which meant fewer sponsorships from manufacturers and related brands. One of the biggest warning signs came in early 2022 when Jeremy Clarkson's car-focused platform, DriveTribe, shut down after major cuts to automotive marketing budgets. If a company backed by some of the biggest names in car media couldn't survive that shift, it showed how serious the change really was.
Look, you cannot compare traditional media to a car YouTuber. There's no way, because with a lot of these guys that I have worked with and that I have seen, their entire team is usually just either themselves or them and like one or two other people max. And for them to create a video, unless they're going and buying like wide body kits and like purchasing $100,000 cars, their production cost is very low. A lot of them edit themselves. And so their cost to get out a video could just be a day's worth of their time, like $30. So for a lot of those people, they could still do just fine on YouTube and not have the high overhead that's just weighing them down.
Shmee150 has openly talked about how the COVID-era money surge created an artificial car bubble and how depreciation eventually returned to normal.
Honestly, this is where things get really interesting, because when the big purchases slow down, it's the everyday, ordinary spending that starts to matter a lot more. I'm talking things like travel, rent, recurring expenses, and so on. That's why it's worth it to optimize for money that you're already spending anyway. And no joke, one of the best ways to do that is with our sponsor, Built. For those unaware, Built is the loyalty program for renters, and it turns something you're already doing, like paying rent, into points that you could actually use. Plus, it's really simple. Every time you pay your rent through Built, you earn points, and those points could be extremely flexible. You could redeem them for things like airlines, hotels, Lyft rides, Amazon.com purchases, and a wide range of other options. You could also get access to exclusive benefits at more than 45,000 merchants just by linking a debit or credit card. This way, you could still earn your usual credit card rewards, but then earn Built points on top of what you're already spending, so you could just stack the offers. Personally, I love their travel benefits, like airlines and hotels, because that's where I get the most leverage. But you could also redeem points for rent credit, fitness classes, gift cards at more than 120 brands, members-only experiences, and even put points towards a down payment on a home or towards your student loan balances. So if we're heading into a period where being smarter with your money matters more than ever, this is one of the best optimizations for you to do. Plus, it's easy to get started. It's free to join. You could join no matter where you live, and you could start earning rewards on rent right away. Just make sure to use the link down below in the description so that they know I sent you, or use the QR code on the screen to sign up. Enjoy. Thank you so much. Now let's get back to the video.
So my car, as per the spec video I did back at the time, and I've owned it now for a couple of months shy of 4 years, but it cost me £465,000. That felt like a bargain. Some decent mileage with it, the best part of 10,000. It would hit the market for something like 265. So down about £200,000 from new, which is horrific.
Look, I think it's highly misleading they're using Shmee in front of like a hypercar behind him as an example of a YouTuber who loses money, because I gotta say, Shmee's collection, very well curated, very well bought. He is doing very well, and I don't think he is in any sort of financial ruin whatsoever, not even close. I mean, Shmee's entire production is some of the most efficient that I have ever seen. I mean, it's just him walking around with a camera. He does a lot of his own edits, and he buys his cars very smart. My guess is he's probably sitting on a ton of equity in these cars that he purchases at good prices. And yeah, he's not at any risk of financial ruin here.
For many creators, the math stopped working. Buying another supercar was no longer a content investment. It was a risk. Unexpected repairs, 5-figure insurance bills, and steep depreciation started eating through profits. Even creators like Hoovies Garage have admitted spending around $50,000 in a single year just to keep their cars running.
I have $50,000 into this Porsche. $50,000 into a car that looks like absolute trash. It is in total terrible condition.
When revenue drops and costs explode at the same time, even the most successful car YouTubers are forced to slow down, sell cars, or rethink everything.
Yeah, but with Hoovie, that's his entire content strategy, is buy the worst car out there imaginable in the entire country, fix it up, find problems along the way, and every problem, even if it costs him like $10,000, I bet he could turn that $10,000 into either a break-even or a slight profit. By the time he makes a video on it, you get a sponsor in the video, you put some time into it. It's like with me, with a lot of my properties, Sometimes I'm like, hey, if I have an issue with the property, at least I can make some of the money back just making a video about it.
And over the last few years, that's exactly what we've been seeing across automotive YouTube. Sometimes it happens publicly, sometimes it happens quietly, but the pattern is hard to miss. The lifestyle built around non-stop supercar upgrades simply isn't sustainable anymore. Take Shmee 150, for example. He's often seen as the gold standard of car YouTube, with one of the largest and most carefully curated supercar collections on the platform. But in 2023, he released a video openly breaking down how much money he had actually lost on his cars.
Here's another thing that a lot of people don't consider is that there is a celebrity pedigree associated with certain YouTuber cars. Just because they have so much attention on them that someone would both pay a slightly higher price because it's their car, or they'd pay a slightly higher price to be able to meet them to pick up their car. So I'm just saying, usually with these, you get about a 5 to 15% boost in value purely because it was their car. Same with Doug DeMuro, by the way. I noticed the cars he reviews sell for a little bit more than the cars he does not review. So just the fact that Doug DeMuro reviews your car, I think it's now worth more because it was in a video.
Even Shmee himself has said that the COVID-era money surge created an artificial bubble and that things are now returning to normal. Since then, he slowed down his buying and sold off parts of his collection, a noticeable shift from the rapid expansion of earlier years.
Part of that, though, is that the bar has now gotten so high in terms of supercar content on YouTube that you either need to drive like a $6 million Bugatti to get any attention whatsoever, or you just have to get back to the basics because people are tired these days of like, oh, I just bought a $750,000 car, because both that's not as impressive as it was like 10 years ago. And also, it's like, there's so many people doing that now that you have to like be unique, come at it with your own spin, which I think Hoovies Garage does really well. Buying these cars that used to be like $200,000 new, and now you could buy them for 40 grand. It's like everyone wonders about that. Like I look at Bentleys all the time on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm like, oh, there's a Bentley for $22,000 for like a 2006 Bentley GT. That's fun. It's like, imagine I could buy a Bentley for I could drive a Bentley around Las Vegas for $22,000, cheaper than a Honda Civic, and I'd buy a Bentley. You know, what's that like? Or like a really cool Mercedes S-Class AMG, and like it's $150,000 new, and I could buy it for $25,000. Like, that's cool. I'm always curious about that, so I think more of that because it's just unique.
Then there's Hoovies Garage. Tyler Hoover built his channel around buying questionable cars and dealing with the fallout, usually with humor. But recently, that joke stopped being funny. In early 2025, he revealed that he owed around $500,000 in back taxes, forcing him to sell off a large part of his collection almost immediately.
So about a month has gone by since I walked through and said goodbye to all of those cars, and in the meantime, I had a guess on how much taxes that I owed, and it turned out I guessed very, very wrong. I owe about double what I thought, over $500,000. So I'm gonna have to sell a lot more cars and have sold a lot more cars.
For a channel with over 1 million subscribers, it was a clear reminder of how thin the margin really is.
Yeah, but with Hoovie though, I mean, he is a true car fanatic. Like, I thought, okay, this might be a bit of an act, maybe you're exaggerating for the camera. No. When he sees a unique car, he buys it. Like, he bought a Fisker Karma, I remember, like, just spur of the moment when he was in Vegas during Barrett auctions. And I'm like, really? It's a cool car. But he's like, yeah, I just can't help myself. I was going to save the money, but I saw a Fisker Karma and bought it. So yeah, with Hoovie, he just genuinely likes cars. This is his passion, and when you watch his channel, you're just along for the ride. You do not know what's gonna come there.
Even Salamandrin, once one of the flashiest names in car YouTube, eventually stepped away. Despite having income outside the platform, he sold off nearly his entire hypercar collection and temporarily stopped uploading. He openly admitted that having millions tied up in cars no longer made sense once the costs stayed high and the returns dropped. When someone at that level decides the math isn't working anymore, it says a lot.
Yeah, but Salamandrin also had family issues with stalkers. Like, I remember seeing his early videos back in the day, and for those that were not around in 2016 car YouTube or 2017 car YouTube, my gosh, Salamandrin, Alejandro, was the guy for cars. Like, you have no idea. He would get mobbed at car shows, hundreds of people just surrounding him, and people would find his address and show up and like all this sort of stuff. And he had a family, and he was worried about his safety because people would just be like randomly appearing and waiting for him to leave and see what type of car he was driving. I mean, it was wild. It reminds me of that Jake Paul house. Like, it was just a different era back then. And yeah, so he stepped away, took a different approach to things, but that was not like a financial thing.
Viewers are starting to realize that the image of limitless wealth was often held together by debt, sponsorships, and temporary revenue spikes. That illusion worked during the boom. Once the money slowed down, it couldn't hold up anymore.
Some of that also is purely because the cars are worth a point where it doesn't make sense to keep anymore because the car has become so valuable. It's not necessarily like, oh, I'm running out of money. It's just like, hey, my car that I bought for 200 grand is still selling for $600,000, and I'm not getting the views from it. I'm not getting the benefit from it. I've driven it a few years. There's no more value for me to get from this car. Let me sell it, make money from this, and put it in something else. That's a lot of it.
Others have leaned into cheaper project cars and restorations, which cost far less than a hypercar, but often connect better with viewers anyway. Channels like Tavarish and B is for Build prove that you don't need a 7-figure garage to keep people interested.
Tavarish. I mean, this whole video is basically just this AI thing. It's interesting because it's well written, but Tavarish, I mean, come on. Tell me you don't watch Tavarish. Tell me you're not a real person without telling me you're a real person. Come on.
We are getting rid of a lot of vehicles, and some of them are going to absolutely shock you.
I think there's like legitimately going to be like 6 or 7 cars left after everything that goes. There are so many cars
not
coming,
that
it makes
bad.
sense.
Again, it's just because people have gotten so used to it. Everyone now has a hypercar. Everyone has a Koenigsegg. Everyone has this 300 SL Carrera GT hyper thing that goes fast. And it's just people have become numb to it at this point, that we want to get back down to like honest style vlogs of like everyday cars that people can relate to. It's always a pendulum. Like, it's swung to hypercar, Koenigsegg, Bugatti, all that sort of Pagani stuff. It's going to swing back to like, buying a damaged Toyota Supra and we're going to drive it. That's all it is. Or an RX-7. Let's get that car, soup it up a little bit, go fast and sell it and buy a S2000 Honda.
And finally, a lot of creators have had a lifestyle reset. Some moved out of expensive cities, cut back on teams, and stopped chasing constant upgrades. Others have become more open about costs, losses, and mistakes, something you almost never heard during the boom years. And honestly, that transparency has helped because people connect more when it feels real.
Honestly, a lot of this just comes down to what people are watching. If people wanted to see hypercar content, trust me, everyone would find a way to buy a hypercar. The reality is the hypercars no longer get the views and the attention they once did, and so people revert back to whatever the audience wants. Like, if you guys have a specific recommendation for a video or a style or whatever, I'm down. I just want to make content that people enjoy and want to watch and get excited about. And as soon as I see that people don't enjoy the content anymore, I'm either going to scale back on that or I'm going to try something different that people want to watch. I mean, it's all about, at the end of the day, the viewer. What does a viewer want? The viewer is like number one. The viewer is the holy grail. It's like the viewer and then the algorithm. And you got to make both of them happy. If you can make both of them happy, you do well. Then I'm happy. So that's all it really comes down to. So overall, no, they're not going broke. They're actually doing quite well. It's just they're not buying the cars anymore because it's not what people want. But let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. I will do my best to read and reply to as many of you as I can. Thank you again for watching. Also, do remember to check out our sponsor, Built, because you may as well get something for nothing if you're going to be spending the money anyway. Just like, with cars too. You may as well get rewarded for doing what you're already doing. So with that said, that link is down below. Thank you so much, and until next time.